Hello. I'm Jay, and you're watching DS Tech Media, where we cover everything tech related, but focusing on Linux and open source software. And today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to be doing a content creator production diary type deal. And this one's going to be how a DS Tech video is made from scratch to published. And we're going to cover everything from pre-production, thoughts, notes, and writing, research and gathering material, do the design and illustration. Then I set up and configure the scenes, staging. Sometimes I do some practice, some dry runs. Then we record, re-record, edit, dub, and in post-production it's all about the thumbnails. It really makes or sinks a video, the thumbnails. And then we publish, and then I spam hundreds of social media sites. I know, effort to promote. So let's get started. So I always start with creating like notes or whatever in a markdown file, and I prefer to use, this is Typora. It's pretty cool. It's got everything you need. It also does spell checking and everything. And I might grab a project idea from a list, or sometimes I don't even need to really write down any notes or do any script ideas. But on like a bigger project, like the Linux audio project, I'll literally write out tons of notes. I spend a lot of time reading this and that particular video. And I'll even add a visual aid, do some graphics design, put some logos together, make some collages, etc. and so forth. And usually the next step is always getting ready for recording. And for that, I usually go to Inkscape. And I have a couple files where I keep a lot of stuff that I might need again in the future. Like here I have all of my logos and whatnot. Some of these are originals that I've done. A lot of it is just pulling SVGs and PNGs from the projects or through Google searches, etc. Got a bunch of different Linux and distro, even other operating systems like Inferno. My last video, I used this, and this isn't even official. I actually made this. I just took the Steam logo and added like a wireless symbol, and I thought it looked pretty cool. And here's a bunch of other stuff I have, and in some cases you can't really find good quality stuff, like the ALSA logo. This is the best ALSA PNG I could find, so I made my own. I thought I did a pretty good job. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. And like for the unfinished Android project, I basically made this, pulled a bunch of Android app logos together. If they didn't have like a proper logo, I'd just grab this off of the App Store. After I got after I've got all of my visual files ready, if there are any, which there usually are. I like to add visual elements to a lot of my videos. Then it's usually time to pre-configure OBS with scenes so that I can get ready to do my recording. Sometimes I won't use OBS to do the recording. I'll actually use a simple screen recorder. And it's especially helpful in situations like this where I'm trying to record OBS, and OBS isn't the easiest way to record itself. So this will come in handy for that. And the only thing is it doesn't bring in all of the other bells and whistles. It's just what it says it is, the simple screen recorder. So with OBS, we'll go to my different scenes and we'll throw in some graphics like this current video. Maybe if we're reviewing Debian, we'll do that. Steam broadcast. And I also try to do as much of my graphics and all, try to add all that in with OBS. Try to do as much of the work as possible with OBS. I even record my little intro. It's all pre-set up, so. And if we're doing anything with, like, let's say another Linux distribution, I usually do all that in VMware Workstation Pro. And I've got all these different VMs. Some of these are not really for videos, they're for, they're servers and stuff I rely on. Like this one here is my main server, and I do all my web development on this one. It also hosts my RTMP server that lets me stream to YouTube, DLive, and Twitch simultaneously, like in the video that I recorded on how to set that up. I even have a macOS Mojave VM and of course a Windows 10 VM, and then ones for future projects that I may or may not be able to get working at this time, like Plan 9 VM. We've got Remix OS, I've got Android 9 VM, and once everything's recorded, it gets deposited in Videos OBS Rec or Videos SSR Rec for simple screen recorder. And if I need to add, like, let's say overdub vocals or dialogue to something, my go-to is almost always Ocean Audio. It's a pretty straightforward program, very powerful though. Can do a lot with it, and it's got a bunch of effects and whatnot. The recording the videos is actually probably my least favorite part of making them. I am not a huge fan of the performative aspect of making the videos, so sometimes I'll be procrastinating on actually recording the videos And in some cases, uh, it can be difficult because I'll record videos and then when I go to edit them, I'll see problems and you might want to try to edit around them, but it's not always possible. So then I end up going back and re-recording different things, and I try to be a perfectionist, and you're opening up VMs and trying to get Windows and reset up things the way you had them the day before when you gave up. So once the video is actually recorded, what we'll usually do is move all the files into a folder in the video editing directory, and then open up one of two video editors. And most of my videos have been made using Kdenlive, but more recently I've been using Flowblade 2.0 more and more often. And I usually go for Flowblade for like the shorter, smaller projects. I feel like it's more suited for smaller projects. I'm also less familiar with it. And usually a Flowblade project, I don't know if I've ever had one break the 20-minute mark. Let's see, this one tops out at 19 minutes and 51 seconds. This was my Android project. And here you can see a pretty standard Flowblade timeline. I also choose to use Flowblade when it's less effects heavy. That's usually. And I'm also more afraid of messing something up when I'm using Flowblade, because the editing workflow is a little precarious in that sometimes you'll move or try to delete something and it completely changes everything in that track's location. But they're both very good editors. They don't share a lot in common. They're actually pretty different. Flowblade has a lot more editing tools to choose from. And I've yet to really master that. The effects workflow for Flowblade is also really different from Kdenlive. Just how it manages changing your effects to your different transformations and whatnot. My last video about Steam broadcasting was around 8 minutes, I believe. Kdenlive is my go-to editor, of course, because I'm just more proficient in using it. I've already finished quite a few very large projects with Kdenlive. The project that I'm currently working on, this is my current major project about music production and recording in Linux, and it's kind of a whole giant tutorial series. You can see that this is a much larger project than any of the videos that I had open in Flowblade, and this project is currently at 51 minutes and 32 seconds. I spent a lot of time on this intro here, and you can see all of the different cuts and fades and just different effects. And I also am able to put my designs from Inkscape when doing effects and everything in Kdenlive. With something as simple as this, we can take and add this title, and then with some green screen and chroma effects, we can animate text with video behind the text that shows through. And I may even try to replace the black with a separate video, something that moves. And a lot of the hours in the video are spent working right here in the editor, that's for sure. The editing is a large chunk of time. And it's also pretty resource intensive on the computer. I've got 16 gigs of RAM in this system. And before I started producing videos, I never thought 16 gigs was all I would ever need. So once the video is edited, obviously we render it out, and I'll usually publish it to YouTube first, and then it's time to start working on the thumbnail. And I feel like the thumbnails are an important part of the video making process. And to make the thumbnails, I will usually rely on GIMP and Inkscape. And this is the thumbnail from my Android Q video, and I made this with Inkscape and GIMP, and I took this screenshot from my phone and basically took a flat image of a Pixel XL, manipulated it to make it look three-dimensional. I manipulated some text and these little overlays here, Android Q logo, and we end up with this. I think it's a pretty happening thumbnail. And once we have the video file and the thumbnail file, we upload to YouTube, and my BitChute account and library accounts are actually set to sync up with my YouTube automatically. I have to do a separate upload to DTube because there is no way to automatically sync DTube with YouTube. So that's my first production diary, and I just wanted to do kind of a quick and simple little video. I need to work on uploading more often, but I don't want to just make worthless videos either. I try to keep the content relevant and interesting, I hope. Please like, share, subscribe, YouTube, BitChute, DTube, Steemit, and even library if you have it. I'm trying to grow on all the platforms. Leave me some comments if you didn't like it. Let me know why. If you want to give it a thumbs down. Always check back. I usually produce at least 1 or 2 videos a month. I'm trying to get that number up, and got a big one coming, audio and music production on Linux. Pretty proud of that one. Hope everyone likes it. Check us out on Minds. We're on Gab. I publish articles and keep a blog on Steemit. I also write articles to Medium. So there's some individual content there that you won't get anywhere else. I'm pretty active on Minds. On Twitter and Mastodon as well. I try to be active on everything. Most recently I created an Instagram account, and I'm trying to decide what kind of content is suitable for there. All the links to everything are in the description below. as well as my kit.com account where you can see all the gear I use. As always, thank you for watching. I've been Jay, and this was DS Tech Media. We'll see you in the next one.